that. Oh, here we go. Oh, yes. It's the Merc Radio Morning News, my sweet, sweet weeaboos. How's everyone doing today? I hope everyone had a good Rosh Hashanah. It was the 6th through the 9th this year. No, I had a really good one. I picked a story I thought would be a pretty good time this morning. Maybe start us off a little light. Runaway cow stops rush hour traffic on the M25. Oh, they done got a cow stopping traffic on the M25, boy. A witness said about 10 police were at the scene as the farmer tried to coax the animal back to its field. Oh yeah, I bet they did. Ooh, Surrey police received calls from the public at around 8:35 a.m. to say it was on the anti-clockwise carriageway between junctions 5 and 6 near Godstone. This is in the UK. Yeah, no, not Florida, surprisingly, Arianthe. The M25 is actually in the UK. This is why I thought this news was fairly interesting this morning. We got southern activities happening and on the British Isles. Yeah. Nobody knows how to act here lately. Got a runaway cow on the M95, the M25, and these British folk didn't know what to do about it. It took 10 cops to move that fucking cow. It took 10 British police officers to move that fucking cow. Which, you know, hey, God bless. The UK is wild this week. It sure fucking is. Now, this one's from September 7th. And it's from The Mirror. Wreckage from mysterious UFO crashes could unlock alien secrets, experts say. Now, experts have been saying this my whole life. Let's see what Sam Elliott Gibbs of The Mirror has to say about this. Physical debris from 2 alleged UFO crash sites over the past 70 years have been examined in a lab. It has been confirmed. A new state-of-the-art machine has enabled scientists at Stanford University, California, to study in depth what was collected. Metal debris from UFO cases dating as far back as 1947 have been investigated. It obtained through on-field research of supposed crashes in Colombia and Argentina. So these are South American UFOs. Which, I don't know if anybody knows anything about the potential Nazi connections to the UFO activity. That's a very interesting theory to me. It's interesting that it would be coming from Argentina, which, as we know, is where we, with the help of Prescott Walker, 2 of our U.S. presidents, patriarch, and the help of he funded the Nazi Party of America, who helped with Operation Paperclip, moving Nazis into Argentina. So it's just an interesting connection I've noticed. The new multi-parameter ion beam imager gives scientists the chance to look at atomic structure of a selected material. So we have a new interesting way of using ions to bounce into an atom to kind of give a view of atomic structure, and it looks like we're using the Stanford machine on some woo-woo metals, some metals that have our government, I think, has left. You know, we hold firm here on Merc Radio that, statistically speaking, it's probably not an alien thing. It's either humans or it's coming from the ocean. If we're gonna say it's a new species of sentient life, my dollars to donuts. That shit's coming from the ocean. Got a lot of stories this morning, but I'm gonna move clean into this one from NPR. It's from August 6th, so it's a little bit old, but I really liked this story. How a beloved giant rat won free speech rights. So basically, an organizer from the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 150, and a couple of construction workers are protesting on a sidewalk in Chicago in late July. They're flanked by a 12-foot-tall inflatable rat named Scabby. It has pointy teeth, red eyes, and depictions of oozing, pus-filled scabs on its belly. According to a recent decision from the National Labor Relations Board, this giant rat and its brethren across the country now have free speech rights too. Giant inflatable rats have been used for decades as widely recognized symbol for labor dispute. But last year, the board signaled it could be persuaded to outlaw their use in certain situations. Wartzbaugh's union, the Local 150, claims it invented Scabby to protest labor issues almost 3 decades ago. The term scab is slang used by unions to describe strike breakers. So, this is an inflatable rats have more right to free speech than your average British citizen right now. I want to make that as clear and loud as possible. This rat functionally is committing something that gets people banned off of social media all the time too. So if I was to go in someone's comment section on a publicly posted post on, let's say, Facebook, and say, "You're a scab, you're a rat, you're Scabby the fucking rat, fuck you, you piece of shit, strike breaking rat," I'd get banned. I would get banned. So again, there are aspects of life now where an inflatable rat has more right to free speech than an average online American, which fucking blows my mind. It just blows my mind. So I thought I'd bring up Scabby. I'm a fan of Count Dankula. I think what happened to Count Dankula was bullshit. I think that anybody who's been canceled off of social media and all the bans that Facebook issues every day are bullshit. And people should be able to say what they want, and people should be allowed to give due response. This is America. This is we're humans. Let's see. Arianthe says, got a 30-day ban on Facebook for saying Nazis are stupid. Exactly. Because you called a group of people a name. I've caught bans. I caught a week-long ban for saying, as a joke, Italian bastards. I think I said French bastards once too, and I got banned. Now, if I don't have freedom of candor, what are we doing here? The 7-day came from saying, I hate racist people. Yeah, because you said you hate a group of people. That's technically, they're algorithmically seeing that as hate speech. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit. There's no, there's, in my opinion, something as open and wide as Facebook, things like Twitter, these things need to go ahead and be commodified. I'm over the debate. These need to be regulated, and free speech needs to be put into place. And if it's going to be edited, go ahead and be, or if it's going to be censored, go ahead and have the government censor it, so we know who we're going to yell at. We know who to fight, and we know who we can vote it out. The thing about these corporations is now we have a moral policy when it comes to our day-to-day interactions. We have a moral compass that's not voted in. It's not ours. We didn't buy it. So it's just some bullshit. The freedom of speech situation here. I'll always advocate for free speech. Let's see here. I think we got this one is kind of a spicy one. This is in the topic of race, guys. Facebook apologizes after its AI labels black men as primates. The fuck, Facebook. So the Facebook algorithm can ban me for saying any number of things, but its AI is going to label black men as primates. They constantly roll out things in the realm of artificial intelligence or algorithmic programming that is bunk as shit. That it is outdated, it doesn't work, and it's corruptible as shit. And then they have the gall to to rely on that same group of people building this algorithmic programming to fucking decide what we can and can't say. When it's this corruptible. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's disgusting, but let's see here. Facebook issued an apology on behalf of its artificial intelligence software that asked users watching a video featuring black men if they wanted to see more videos about primates. Wow. Facebook. Wow. We are mirrored live to Facebook right now, and I could not hate a platform more. It's a time sink. I know people that are addicted to it. I know people that are addicted to the discourse it breeds. I've never seen a more argumentative bullshit, half gate kept by a robot fucking platform. A Facebook spokesperson told the New York Times on Friday, which first reported on the story, that the automated prompt was an unacceptable error and apologized to anyone who came across the offensive suggestion. And then they issue a robotic apology and move right on. As a corporation, fuck Facebook. Fuck Facebook. Fuck their advancements and the fact they try to step into the AI game that when Twitter did. Have we learned nothing from Tay AI? The Twitter AI that was corrupted by racists and started saying things like YOLO Hitler. Like, the fuck? The fuck are you talking about? Yeah, boomers sharing misinformation and Bible quotes. That is a lot of Facebook. Is boomers sharing misinformation in Bible quotes. It's a lot. I'm on it a lot, and a lot of what I'm on Facebook for is music submissions, because in the music promotion game, you really try to hit every platform you can. And I find that Facebook is typically associated, because of their weird social security policies here in America, it has to be attached to like a name normally. It's harder and harder every year to make a pseudonym or a fake account on Facebook. And so that allows me access to creators normally. But I will say, Facebook also owns Instagram, and Instagram, I've made friendlier industry connections. I've made, seems to be a better, more communicative platform for artists, at least. Facebook is trash. It's hard for artists too, and they do everything they can to make it even more difficult. When they were talking about banning videos with music in them. The fuck are you talking about? Just make it, just merge with LinkedIn then. Just merge with LinkedIn. If you don't want to be a place for creators of any kind. And photos of their face from their laps. Hey, yeah, the dad angle photo. That's probably, yeah, in our Discord, I'm probably going to make that the Merc profile photo, is like a real dad bod shot. That's, I'm glad I got you here on the line, Arianthe. I got this from Arianthe. This is from the Greenville News. The author is John Monk. In the headline, Timothy Jones was sentenced to death, but horrific murders of his children haunts South Carolina jurors. Lexington, South Carolina, 3 months after one of South Carolina's most bone-chilling trials, the death penalty case of Lexington County father who killed his 5 young children. Jurors remain haunted by what they saw and heard. I think about it every day, said a 52-year-old woman with the initials L.A., who served as an alternative juror until being excused near the trial's end. Many times during the trial, I went to the juror's bathroom and just wailed. Cried my eyes out. Jurors have stayed silent since June 13th, when they unanimously voted to put Timothy Jones Jr. to death for the 2014 murders of his children in the family's Red Bank home. They endured some of the most harrowing testimony ever uttered in a South Carolina courtroom. Testimony that left veteran police officers and news reporters seated in the courtroom, blinking back tears and recoiling in horror at the parade of gruesome evidence. Yeah, I would imagine with the details of a what is it, 5 quintuple homicide? I mean, as a just five children. Key evidence, the Timothy Jones trial. Well, I was not aware of this actually, so I think this we'll slide this over into our true crime research, because I think this maybe deserves a video of these poor children, these families, or I would assume they're surviving families. This piece is, Arianthi says, this piece of shit said he felt like he was the target and the kids were plotting against him. The one he focused on was fucking 6 years old. Wow. So, he thought his kids were, there was a conspiracy, okay. He had become delusional and thought his children were trying to kill him. It's just fucking tragic. Normally, let's see here, Andy said he was told by voices because, in his fucking words, his mom had issues, and so he must too. What happened to the mom, Arianthi? He wasn't crazy. He tried to claim. Oh, he wasn't crazy like he tried to claim. He was just a monster. Yeah. It really sounds like this guy was really just a monster. Damn. This is the grandfather of the children, and the defense attorney is pointing out the tattoos he got. I couldn't imagine being a grandfather in that situation where your son kills your grandchildren. He used food as punishment, Arianthi says. Made them do squats until their knees gave out. Water was withheld to make them behave, etc. He tortured them. Ooh. This is a photo of Crystal Ballantyne, a babysitter and girlfriend of Timothy Jones Jr. She answers questions during Jones' trial in Lexington, South Carolina, Wednesday, May 29th, 2019. Jones, who was accused of killing his 5 children in 2014, has pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Prosecutors were seeking the death penalty, and they got it. Was that him? Yeah. He looks like maybe he's got some kind of disassociation. He doesn't look right, like chromosomally. He does look like a fucking monster. I don't know how you could defend him, he has a right to defense, but Timothy Jones looks around the courtroom during his trial in Columbia, South Carolina, Monday, May 20th, 2019. Timothy Jones Jr. is accused of killing his 5 young children in 2014. Jones, who faces the death penalty, has pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Yeah. That's the mother. Wow. She has to be helped out of the courtroom. Only lived in like a double wide. God, he's got the worst male pattern baldness. Gotta say. That's the worst hairline in the game. That's a striking image right there. That's a, something you'll see in that area. He fake cried the entire time, Marianthe says during the trial. Fascinating. I say we deep dive this one. Yeah, we'll do an episode on this one. They took a nanny everywhere. Their nanny snuck them food. Yeah, it said that like he had a girlfriend, and she seemed like a bigger Southern girl that wouldn't necessarily play that shit, but would also suck it from behind for some dope. I said what I said. They became rewired, a different person, inside the fight to program that Love Has Won cult members. Now, we're definitely going to be deep diving Love Has Won. I'd like to do that, honestly, as soon as possible. I'm working on it. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get to it. I've got it on my list. Love Has Won. So basically, there was a small cult in Colorado. They had moved around a bunch. They were in Kauai at one point, and nobody wanted them anywhere. Is this AMT Carlson? I'm not sure I know what you mean by that, Ariane. Oh, is this Amy Carlson? Yes. Yes, this is Amy Carlson. So this is about the Love Has Won cult. Cult in Colorado. Lady dies. They kind of leave her wrapped in a fucking blanket in a room as if they're like in a twisted version of how like you would do it for a guru. But this woman wasn't a guru. She was just an alcoholic woman who abandoned her children and then abused other people's children while abusing alcohol. Probably until she died. She also thought she was the Earth incarnate. She was Mother Earth and God. She had what was it she was quoting as saying, I got 6 billion personalities up in this bitch. And, she seemed fucking nuts, but they've been working really, I guess there's been, groups of government officials and different state programs trying to deprogram the Love Has Won people. And it's hard. It's hard. She was sniping people who were late teens, early 20s, taking psychedelics for their first time probably, smoking a little weed for the first time, and really just wanting to escape what was probably a trust fund hippie kid lifestyle. Like they were living I'm assuming a trust fund lifestyle, but they wanted to be hippies. I call that demographic trust fund hippies. So she kind of had her own little group of trust fund hippies, it seems. And as far as I know, Love Has Won is still streaming. They might not be anymore. I caught a stream of theirs by active members, I want to say 4 or 5 months ago. I follow Love Has Won on YouTube. So I need to see if it's been taken down, if they're still going, if there's a new iteration. We're going to deep dive the cult, what specifically they believe. I don't want to get into that yet, really, because I assume it's a whole shit show. But they're having a really hard time. It's in the news right now. They're having a really hard time deprogramming the Love Has Won people. And that's, when you have, it reminds me of the Buddha Field cult. A hypnotist, a fake hypnotherapist, shitty gay porn actor started a cult in, I want to say, Central California, something like that. They ended up moving around. I think he's in Hawaii right now, if he's still alive, the guy who ran the Buddha Field cult. But he was sniping specifically beautiful people, late teens, early 20s. And when you have a group of beautiful people like that, we all know what it's like to be beautiful and what the people who are beautiful in their late teens, early 20s are like. They haven't necessarily lived the life that everyone else is going to live. When you're beautiful and you have a trust fund, you can get sucked up into something like this, and this is just my life now. This was a lot of people's first adult decision, and you're not allowed to make adult decisions young, and you grow up pretty and privileged, I would imagine your first adult decision is pretty fucking important. And so they're gonna have a hard time. They're gonna have a hard time. But I wanted to bring up Amy Carlson. Talk about Love Is One a little bit. She seemed particularly sick, and she falls into our theme of, again, I'm not going to get too hard into their ideology, but she, in my opinion, falls into the worked a normal job and then out of nowhere starts co-opting groups into functionally like a doomsday stay-behind cult. So, I would imagine they'll say, no, there's no doomsday, blah, 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 but we'll deep dive that. Let's see, we got Sent This by Arianthe. Far-right terror poses bigger threat to U.S. than Islamist extremism post 9/11. Absolutely, with this headline. So, really, far extreme ideology in general is going to be posing a danger to the U.S. in the next decade. In my opinion, we're going to see a rise on both sides. People who are violently left, violently right. It's going to get really, really bad. That was the most devastating media cycle for any presidency I've ever fucking seen for our country. And that's not pro or against Trump, that statement. It's got nothing to do with him. I'm kind of talking about how the press portrayed our country while he was running it. And when you mass produce a sense of insecurity about your nation, it's going to cause the people who are passionate about that, about their nation, to pick a side and potentially do something. And that's what it seems like a lot of these people are doing. I'm from a land of far-right groups that meet up in the woods and burn crosses and shit. So I wasn't too surprised when I started seeing actual people showing up with guns to some of these like Trump rallies and stuff. Like, yeah, that seems about typical of that demographic. Keep in mind the majority of Texas has historically always voted Republican. It's a large state and there's a lot of guns. It's okay. That doesn't, there's a reason we have those guns. Those people have a right to be there. But we saw our government, we saw most county police infrastructures take a side too. And they took the side, it seemed, in the South anyway, of the right-wingers. That's what scares me about this, is these far right groups have infiltrated our policing infrastructure, our general contracting infrastructure, and I would imagine lower to higher levels of our government, excluding any potential high-level government, like one world government conspiracy. You know what I mean? Like, I would imagine these kind of info warriors are all over the fucking place. Alex Jones sells a lot of vitamins. A lot. And it's not to one person. So it's going to be a problem on the ground, and anybody who is melanated or of a ethno group or religious group that isn't approved by your local infrastructure, or you receive friction, I urge you, unless you have all the money in the world and an attorney, not to fight it. It's genuinely not worth it, and it's not worth getting hurt over. Leave. There's a town in the state I'm from called Harrison. There's still racist signs up. There's active KKK members working in all levels of infrastructure in that city, from policing to the lawyers there. It's an alt-right white shit show, and has been my whole life. And I know it's been my father's whole life. And it's going, those people feel emboldened, they feel scorned, and something's gonna happen. I believe, as you know, I believe in evidence and taking a firm accounting in what happened. So again, my advice would be, if you experience anybody like this, or you're in the face of a community that seems to really not jive with you, please leave. They will fly coach to an insurrection, and they will get black vanned. They'll get put in a black van, and they won't be anyone's problem ever again. I think there's a rise in this kind of thing, and I think it's by design too. I have a conspiracy that Donald Trump designed it to go this way. He has gutted the Republican Party, and they are de-arming the zealous white nationalists. That's just my personal opinion. I think they're going to find a system to identify them, label them, and take their rights away. That's what I think is going to happen. Yeah. Absolutely, Arian. I just realized I'm not in the voice chat. If you were trying to get into the voice chat. Like an asshole. Having a bit of a rough morning. I'm in a stage 2 flare-up. I have an autoimmune disease, and the way it kind of works is you'll have flare-ups. And it can be incredibly painful. Incredibly painful. I have these open lesions right now. During stage 2, I have intermittent flu symptoms and kind of skin issues, but we're trucking right through it. We're going to take it a little easy today. Maybe push it a little hard, I guess. There's actually no quantifiable reason. It's just my immune system. But absolutely, if you'd like to pop in, feel free. I didn't realize I wasn't even in the voice thing. I try to keep that sucker open just in case anybody wants to pop in. Oh, don't be sad. I'll be all right. I'll heal right back up. One thing I like about the area I'm in is how dry it is. Moisture on my skin can be a really serious problem for me if it stays there for too long. So I'm able to kind of fix the skin lesions part really fast. It's nice. Normally, once I've curbed that problem, it's just the flu symptoms. It's just my voice going in and out, and I sound stuffy. The more I YouTube and stream, the more I'm kind of seeing the cycles of it. Let's see. Speaking of being ill, let's move on to the Nipah virus. What is the Nipah virus, and why is it more deadly than COVID-19? A virus expert explains. Officials in India are racing to contain a virus outbreak that has claimed the life of a 12-year-old boy and is deadlier than COVID-19. The Nipah virus. What? Let me read this. Sorry. There we go. CBS News reports the boy was taken to the hospital last week in the southern Kerala state with a high-grade fever and suspected brain inflammation. After blood tests, he was diagnosed with the Nipah virus and died Sunday. Officials were using contact tracing, quarantine, and hospitalization on the 188 people who have come in contact with the preteen to prevent a widespread outbreak. This is one of those viruses we really need to pay attention to. John Litnicki, a research professor at the University of Florida's Environmental and Global Health Department, told USA Today. The reemergence of the Nipah virus is compounding a problem in the nation already, grappling with the effects of COVID-19 with over 30,000 new COVID cases reported on Monday. Wonder what we're up to now this week. The Nipah virus was first discovered in Malaysia and in Singapore in 1999 after multiple pigs and people became sick, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. So far, the only recorded outbreaks have occurred in Asia. It's classified as a zoonotic virus that initially spreads from animals to people. It can also be transmitted through contaminated food and directly between people. So we basically have a new mad cow. Oh, Derek does something super similar. Yeah. It's no good having a damn autoimmune disease. But okay, so we've got a new virus on the scene, guys. The Nipah virus. I liked the photo of a goat they had. So pigs, goats, mammals, mammalians, bats. Things like that are going to spread this virus. Should people in the U.S. be worried? Lednicki said people in the U.S. do not need to worry much about Nipah virus because it has been isolated to Asia regions where fruit bats live. But there's always been a chance someone can bring the virus into a new area. The concern really is how people travel, Lednicki said. Years ago, when travel was more restricted, you didn't see unusual pathogens traveling. Lednicki hopes that the U.S. can learn from the COVID-19 pandemic and take on a more proactive approach versus a reactive one. There are going to be more emerging pathogens, he said. It seems like history repeats itself because we're unprepared. Yeah. Have another plague. Very absolutely possible. I mean, Nipah virus, I understand if you were a doctor, if you were a scientist or a professor or a researcher looking into that, how you would call for stricter controls on travel, but it's hard for me to, being an unwell person, it's hard for me sometimes to necessarily see eye to eye with that opinion because people have to get around. It's gonna get out there no matter what you do. An Iowa teacher was placed on leave after sharing he is bisexual. The students staged a walkout because he floats both ways? The fuck you talking about? Des Moines, Iowa. Cora Smith walked out of Wintersets High School Tuesday with a bisexual pride flag draped over her shoulders. The 10th grader was among more than 100 students who walked out in a protest over the school district placing 7th grade literacy teacher Lucas Kaufman on leave. Kaufman was placed on leave last week following a presentation about himself to his class featured the LGBT pride flag. According to Change.org petition, when asked by students, Kaufman said he was bisexual. Nearly 1,500 people have signed the online petition. We're hoping that this will help Kaufman, Smith said. Okay, so yeah, well, he was answering it too. It's not like he even freely volunteered the information. Like, he did a presentation about himself. I'm sure the pride flag was probably hanging on his lawn or something in the background. And it led to people wondering and asking him, because students are nosy. That's what I would ask. I'd be like, you know, what's up? What's your pronoun, bro? And yeah, he's not even like wild with it. He's just bisexual. Yeah, that's some old nonsense, Iowa. Hey, you know, Iowa has nothing going on. I'm sure this is the juiciest thing that's happened in Iowa and fucking, I mean, I don't know, since the last large game was shot. Are you the Arianthi says, am I the only one that giggled at the US has learned from from COVID-19? Yeah, you know, we really don't seem to have learned too much. I don't think. We're doing fairly well, it seems like, in this kind of downtown area where I'm at, masking up and staying away. But also the state I'm in, everybody's confused all the fucking time because the desert fried their brain. So there's just directionally challenged people that bump into me all the fucking time. I can't help but to think every time I walk around the street, like, God damn it. Did you just fucking give me something? And I'm, you know, now I'm just gonna be anxious for the rest of my life because of COVID-19. If I get to an old age, I'm gonna have grandkids. I'm gonna say, why are you stressed out all the time? Because I lived through COVID. You little son of a bitch. I lived through polio. Ooh, a tiny new organ has been discovered in the human body. Here's why it matters. Ooh, Arianthi sent this to us. Thank you. Let's see what we got here. A group of Dutch scientists believe they have discovered a brand new organ in the human body. It's an impossibly small set of glands dubbed tubarial glands that sit in the skull where the nose and throat meet. Oh my. How did they find it? Researchers were using special technology called PSMA PET/CT, prostate-specific membrane antigen imaging using positron emission tomography. Oh, okay. Which is designed to look for tumorous growths. They were looking in the head of 100 individuals being treated for prostate cancer, as well as 2 dissected cadavers. When they found the new organs. Hey, we got new parts, guys. Our nose bone's connected to our glands. And our gland bones are connected to our face bones. Why do the new organs matter? The study authors assume the function of the tubarial glands is to moisten and lubricate the nasopharynx. If you're a biologist, I'm sorry. Connected to the soft plate, and oropharynx connected to the tongue and throat. The implications of the study could benefit head and neck cancer patients. Radiotherapies used to treat such tumors can damage other salivary glands, which can cause dry mouth and trouble with swallowing, speaking, and eating. That is something that happens when you're getting a cancer treatment. Yeah, you get all dry. Ooh. Took you straight to 1788. Yeah, we didn't learn shit from COVID, but yeah, we really didn't. I'm sure we would, if it would have been mold on bread, we'd probably still burn witches. So yeah, this will really help with I mean, particularly with dry mouth. Anybody who knows what those glands also contribute to. You know, we're one big interconnected thing. We're one big system, baby. It's all working together in here. You know, unless you're me, then it's all working against each other. But like, who knows? That is a big development. Now, we got some functionally hometown news for me and Arianthe here. Josh Duggar was placed on the Arkansas sex offender registry for molesting his sisters years before his arrest on child porn charges. Yeah, I figured so. He's been a fucking creep since well before that show. Duggar, 33, was accused in 2015 of sexually assaulting 5 young girls as a teen. 4 of them his sisters. In 2006, police report obtained by In Touch magazine. His 4 sisters filed a lawsuit in 2017 against the city of Springdale, claiming the release of the information to In Touch breached their privacy. The city of Springdale argued in papers filed August 30. Duggar had already been placed on the sex offender registry over the alleged abuse. The defendants argued this means the allegations were already within public knowledge before the police report came to light, which means Duggar was already on that sex offender registry before they pressed charges, before the show happened. He was already a sex offender. He came out of the gate a fucking sex offender. They've been hiding that secret, and Springdale helped hide it because they're a big fucking family in that town. It's fucking connected to everybody, and they're the only reason is because they can't stop fucking. It's the only reason. It's because they can't stop fucking. Oh, I got you. Did I mute you? No, you're muted.
No, I muted myself. I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, let me get you turned up. There we
go. Fucking Duggar. First of all, I know his wife. We had a baby at the
you're
same
very
time.
Quiet.
Oh, I wonder why.
1 second, Arianthe. I can barely hear you.
Wonder if it's on my end. No.
Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Sorry, it was hella quiet for me.
Oh, that's weird. I went into my settings to see if it was me, and it was just like enable, noise suppression.
Yeah.
No. Why not? To hear my kids yelling in the background.
Oh. Wow.
Well, Josh Duggar's wife and I had a baby at the same time, and we had the same doctor.
Oh shit.
And so I got to know Anna pretty well.
Oh shit. He's
Yeah.
he's a piece of shit.
He is. Yeah, it turns out and he always has been.
Yeah. And that's, unfortunately for these poor girls, his sister's like, yeah, like he the information was public well before they filed charges, and shame on what was the network that picked up that show?
Oh, TLC.
TLC, that's right. It was a yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking
And TLC has a history of having pedophiles and sexual deviants, for lack of a better word, on their network, and trying really hard to cover it up. It's just solely to make money off of them.
Yep. That's fucking disgusting. Well, and I've known for a minute, and we'll talk about it like a whole bunch in conspiracy stuff, like the more the channel grows, but like a theme you'll notice from these big corporations or big media outlets is they like someone who's compromised.
Yeah.
They like someone with something in their background, something they can exploit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like if you have a secret, it doesn't necessarily mean deals off.
Yeah. My theory has always been that TLC knew, and they stuck it in their pocket, and they were waiting for the Duggars to be like, this thing got out, we want more money. Or not this thing got out, we want more money, but this, we want more money, and then be like, but this thing got out, so...
Yep. What do we do about your pedophile fucking son?
Yeah, what about your pedophile son? We need to talk about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fuck that. They, fucking Quiverful people, dude.
Yeah.
Quiverful people are kind of strange to me. That, that ideology of like, nah, baby, we need a quiver full of children. We need all the children. All the babies. It's like, man, come on.
You ever see him at Sam's Club?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like
a whole grip of Duggars.
Of Duggar kids, and all the younger girls are with the older girls, but mom's off doing her own thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And mom is off, I would imagine, oh, that poor mom. All the poor women that have children in that family.
Not just that, but like the babies are always handed off to the oldest daughter.
Yeah.
Like mom will have babies, Michelle will have babies, and then just hand them off to the daughters to raise.
It's so fucking crazy. You shouldn't... you'd think DHS would step in at some point, but DHS has a special relationship with the Duggars in particular, and with the Quiverful communities of our area. Like, they'll let you have fucking 12 kids even if you can't feed them. And it's fucking crazy.
Yep. That last story, the one about the gland in the face, that sent me on a fucking rabbit hole.
Oh, really? See, there's a whole lot.
So bad.
Well, I had my great-grandfather, Alvis, had a cancer in his sinuses, and they had to remove one of his eyes and then kind of basically dig out all the way to the roof of his mouth. So he had a hole from his eye to the roof of, like, into his mouth. Mm-hmm. And I can't help but to think that gland has something to do. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And the weird issues I've had, even with like sinus stuff or just like an over excess of moisture kind of in that area, makes me wonder if, maybe when I'm in flare-ups and stuff. Yeah. Like, it's so fucking crazy.
Sent me on the stupid, because I was like, so I'm super ADHD. Everybody knows that. It's pretty obvious. And I was like, how did we not see this before? Like,
Yeah.
how have we not found this before? Hell, Ed Gein used to cut open bodies after he stole them from graves. Why did he not find it? And so I googled like Ed Gein, and and that led me I don't know how, but it led me all the way back to the Doctor riots of 1788.
Oh shit. Fucking A. Ooh, Arianthe. Quick update. Because I'm going to cut this stream here in a bit and probably game all day. I'm going to try to stream all day today.
Yeah.
The Lux has updates on Remnants of Playground. She has a location.
Oh, is it Kansas?
No, it's so oh, I'll spoil it. Fucking former adolescent, right?
Mm-hmm.
The antagonist
Yeah.
is in BC, Canada.
Oh.
She knows what schools he's filming at.
Oh, how did she find this out?
She was fucking digging, I guess, all day yesterday. She got off the bus. I went and picked her up from the bus stop, and she was like, oh, I've lost my mind. Like, she has 2 pages of Word document.
Oh.
And she's like, no, there's something going on. Like, even the nails, she has details on like why the nails are long on certain people and shit. Like,
yeah.
She's figured out when things were chronologically recorded and traded.
Whoa, that's wild.
Yeah, she's got a whole fucking, I guess it sent her on a rabbit hole. Yeah, she was like, I couldn't stop. I
love it.
Yeah, had some
that's
downtime.
Fantastic.
And just made
I understand.
Yeah, so we're gonna try to do that tonight. Do a whole Remnants of Playground update that you'll have to hop into because
yes,
we got details. She's got, I think, other like more footage too. Or she found the audio.
Exciting.
She found because each of those series, Scott, Cameron, and the I Love You series, they're all supposed to have 5 parts each.
Yeah.
And apparently, and I kind of brought this up on the stream, there's audio of a Scott 5.
Yeah, I found it at one point, but then I went back to find it again and I couldn't find it.
It was gone, yeah. Lux found it. I think stashed a link. She found it on I don't think it's a YouTube link, so that's good. But it's obvious.
Screen record of that? Hang on to it.
Exactly. It's apparently just Scott, or the guy from the Scott yeah, no, it's Scott, like making, I don't know.
Like heavy breathing and groaning.
Yeah, but there's people who are speculating that saw apparently the 5 seconds of video associated with that audio because it saw at one point that was up too. And apparently it's Scott dying.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love rabbit holes. These are the best.
Yeah. If this
isn't straight to 1788 and sent Lux to a whole nother level of freaked out.
And she's been, the weirdest thing about all of Remnants of Playground is there's like the flavoring video we watched at the beginning of that stream was released this year. Every other video was released in 2016. And we can prove they were filmed between 99 and 2003.
Yeah.
Like, it is fucked. If it is an ARG, it is one of the most well-crafted ARGs I have ever fucking seen.
Yeah.
And they put genuinely more than a decade of fucking planning and time into it. Like,
it really feels like an art piece, but at the same time, I'm like, but what if it's not?
Yeah,
What if it's not?
And the fact that there's like a whole character who's, it seems like the initial like issue with his life is that he got fired from his gig as a soccer coach because of videos, like files they found on his computer.
Huh.
Which says to me that like maybe, I don't know, maybe they found the playground stuff too. Maybe it's not necessarily child porn. But something about those videos genuinely give me like okay, these are some weird people who are into tape play shit. and are sending it to each
Yeah.
other. But Lux has also figured out they're not all in the same place.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is, yeah. And the person who was the protagonist was only online involved. Like, this is an online community.
Oh, okay. So he's not even
Yeah, they
there.
didn't, yeah, like, necessarily physically know each other.
Whoa.
I know. Yeah, she's got we got the juice on it. We got some juice on it. Bro, are you trying to spoil my surprises? Oh, Ray, oh, fuck, Lux is in here. I'm not trying to spoil your surprises. Just to air Anthe. Don't worry about it.
It's okay, it's just me.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. But she's got so much more. She's got 2 fucking pages of shit. She had my jaw on the floor. Like, it is speculation town over here.
Oh, hell yeah, good on her.
Oh man, she found some. I was elated.
What a badass.
Yeah.
Her and I are gonna have to get together and research.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love research.
I told her, she's Ray Redacted in the chat. I told her, hey Lux, you need to hit up Arianthe in the Discord chat about this one in particular, because it's going out there. But I mean, we even had codes to fucking decipher on stream. That was cool.
That was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It
was a lot of fun. No, we'll find some more mysteries. I'm gonna try to I'm gonna try my best to reach out to who Lux calls Vex now, former adolescent.
Okay, so I had saw something about the name Vex, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that would make sense because it was like the way the episodes were named, and then like the codes in them, I was like, oh shit, they were telling us the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't find any confirmation on it, and so I was like, yeah, leave that alone.
Yeah. Oh, Lux is probably doing research. Yeah, I have more research to do before tonight too. Yeah, she's probably researching right now.
Ooh,
She fucking in it to win it. Yeah, she's probably. It's gonna be.
Dude, I spent hours on these fucking doctors' riots yesterday, all thanks to that one article in Ed Gein. Thank you, Ed Gein.
Thank you, Ed Gein. Good lord.
Thank you, Ed Gein. If you want to know anything about the 1788 doctors' riots?
Oh god. Fuck yeah. Ooh.
It's not even that long of a story, but it's
tell me about it. What happened? Why were there doctors' riots in 1788?
Let me tell you about these doctors' riots in 1788. Okay, so it was like New York City. There's only like 30,000 people even in the U.S. at the time, and we were trying to make advances in medical science, but we couldn't because the only bodies we were allowed to use as cadavers were people who were executed, and they couldn't keep up with the demand from doctors. And so when you would go in as a med student, they would be like, BYOB, bring your own body.
Whoa.
Right? Yeah, you had to bring your own body to like work on.
What the fuck? We gonna go grave rob?
Well, and that was the thing, is they would be like, well, don't go steal bodies, because you see the church, there was more churches than anything else basically in the entire US.
Yeah.
But especially in New York City. This is a time whenever New York City was mostly farmland.
Yeah.
There's a shit ton of churches, and the laws were made from the church.
Yeah.
1788. And the church said that if your body wasn't in a grave, you couldn't go to heaven.
Oh shit.
And so, they would put gates and stuff up around the cemeteries, because how the fuck are you going to get a body if you can't just get a body from
what are you
your
gonna
local
do?
prison, you know?
What are you going to fucking do?
So the students would go steal bodies, and like the school would be like, don't steal them, but you need to bring your own body. What else are you supposed to get a body?
And don't tell me not to steal when you're like, we're not going to give you one.
We're not going to provide you your material.
But don't steal one. Like, no, I'm definitely stealing a body. It's like, bitch, I just came here to learn how to embalm.
Right. Right. And so the church was like, the body's not in the grave, then it can't go to heaven. and so people like put up gates and hired security to guard their local cemeteries. But they still did it. They still snuck in the middle of the night and stole bodies out of graves.
Oh yeah.
And it became kind of an issue because it was happening pretty constantly.
Now these poor grieving loved ones are like, oh no,
Yeah.
my gram is no longer in Heaven Town.
Yeah, right. So they started to get a lot of backlash, and all of a sudden, the mayor got involved, and he was pissed off because they were stealing bodies, and so they started going like a half mile away from the school, and they were going to a how do I put this? Okay, so a man named Scipio Gray had bought a piece of land. He was a newly freed man.
Okay.
Had bought a large piece of land and opened up his own graveyard for his community.
Okay.
Formerly enslaved people. So these students started going a half mile away where Scipio's land was and stealing bodies out of his cemetery.
Oh shit. An emancipated slave cemetery.
Yes. And so Scipio was upset, and he would, call the police, and the police were like, well, I mean, they're staying out of white people's cemeteries, so we don't care. They just didn't care. Nobody cared. Nobody would help him.
Classic 1788.
Yeah, classic 1788.
Like,
and so somebody, and nobody knew who, but they signed the petition as Humanio, wrote a petition to city council, had it signed by like 1,000 people in the city for them to do something to help Scipio.
Damn.
But instead of people being upset that, Scipio was getting his graveyard robbed, they just started getting upset because they didn't know who Humanio was, because it must have been a black person and he could read and write.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my
and
gosh.
so there was a big, a big thing in town about who is this black man that can read and write that dare petition to city council.
It couldn't have been a manumissionist or an abolitionist for sure. What the hell?
Yeah, no, of course
What the
not.
hell,
And so they started blaming it on Scipio. They blamed it on Scipio, and he was harassed, and like the students got pissed because, he was telling them to stay the hell out of his graveyard.
Yeah.
And they went to his house and assaulted him, and then let him watch while they stole bodies out of graves.
Holy shit.
Just right in front of him. City council still did nothing. And I think it was because most of city council still owned slaves.
Fuck. Yeah.
And so they were like, fuck you,
Yeah. Which, what state technically are we talking? I forget.
New York. This was New York City.
Yeah, it was New York. Yeah, so I bet you Hamilton probably was involved in that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Dollars to Donuts. I bet you some of the written stuff on that was Hamilton under a pseudonym. We don't know how much stuff he published under pseudonyms because, but we know he was a manumissionist and abolitionist. And absolutely, that sounds like something he would have been involved in, if I had to guess.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's unfortunate.
It's just wild shit. And so it came to a point to where I think it was April of 1788. There were some boys playing outside next to the hospital for whatever fucking reason, and they decided they wanted to see what was going on in the hospital, and so they got a ladder that I guess was just laying out, and climbed up to a window, and looked in and saw a doctor. His name was John Hicks. That's how my ADHD brain works. I hyperfixate. Dr. John Hicks had a body that was half cut up laid out in front of him, freaked the kids out. So this fucking doctor knew that one of the boys, his mama had just died.
Oh.
And so he waved this severed arm at this kid and goes, "This is your mom."
Oh.
This is your mom. Ha 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 ha. Get out of here.
Oh.
So the kid was upset and went home and told his dad, and his dad got pissed, obviously.
Thought that he had robbed the grave of his. Oh my god.
Yeah, and so he went to the hospital to confront this doctor, but he was gone.
He said it's
Like,
riot
the
time.
doctor had left for the day or whatever. And so this kid's still really upset, and his dad's like, okay, we're going to go to your mom's grave. I'm going to show you. She's still there. No big deal. So they go. She's not there.
Oh my god.
And so dad goes and gathers up a whole bunch of friends, and they're going to confront these doctors. They're
Yeah.
not at the hospital, so they start going to their houses.
Oh.
And I don't know how many doctors there were in town, but they rounded up 4 of them and kind of took them prisoner.
Oh shit.
And so the mayor got involved again, and he showed up with the sheriff and was like, nope, you gotta let these people go, and we'll investigate this. Well, while everyone was distracted, the students went and robbed graves out of, like, the biggest church in town.
Yeah.
And took a white woman out of the grave, and shit, man. If you want to turn an angry mob into a riot, you get a white woman involved.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So they took her, but nobody had realized it yet, obviously.
Ooh, this widower
they
started
had-
a riot.
Yeah, it got real crazy real quick. So they put the doctors in the jail for the night, trying to keep them safe. And you can imagine the next day, whenever the people were going around seeing if any of the graves had been robbed in the night, they discovered that there was a woman missing, and they got post.
Yeah, and started a fucking riot. That's a good thing to riot over, I
Yeah.
guess. I mean, this should have been a riot over, the emancipated slave graveyard. But like you said, if you want to make change in America, get a white woman involved or grieve a white woman.
Yeah,
Right,
so
something
I
like you
mean,
done.
white woman involved now. She had been stolen, which just reignited the fucking mob. And so they went looking for Jim Hicks, or what's his name? Is it Jim Hicks or John Hicks? I think it was John Hicks. But they couldn't find him, and so they just went after all the doctors and ransacked the houses of all these doctors. And it was like 400 people, like a 400-person mob in New York City looking for these doctors.
Holy shit! They're like, no, we're
Isn't
done
that
with the bullshit.
crazy?
We're done with the grave robbing nonsense. We're done with it. That's fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
You took a white woman? That's too far.
Oh my god. That's
Yeah, it was
fucking
wild.
fascinating. I'm gonna read up on that. That's fascinating as hell. 1780, Dr. Riots of 1788, New York.
1788, yeah.
I bet that was some violence too. That's back when violence was violence.
Yeah, well, the mayor had to, he eventually, because the mob found out that they were holding the doctors at the jail to protect them. And so this mob went after the jail.
Oh shit.
Went after the jail and went after the jailers, and the mayor had to call in help, and he formed his own militia of like 20 people to go in and try and fight off this mob.
Fuck.
Right.
Fuck. And being the warden of a jail, and it's like, I have to stop a riot, and they're like, oh, okay, call a lockdown on the jail. It's not the prisoners.
Yeah. Exactly.
What do you mean your riot's not the prisoners? The prisoners aren't rioting. It's the people outside of the
Fucking
jail.
people. It was wild. The doctors' riots were wild.
That's where they should
A
be
wild
getting
time
bodies
in
from,
history.
is a jail or something. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, and they were taking the executed bodies. That was actually part of their punishment. Whenever they were given their execution, whatever, they would be like, and your body's going to go to science because you're not
Yeah.
going to heaven.
Yeah, you're not getting a proper Christian burial.
Yeah, because fuck them. But, like, there were not enough executed prisoners to
Meet the quota of
keep up
doctors.
with the demands of doctors. And
Oh,
so they just
fuck.
started to steal them.
None of those doctors thought to, like, start murdering prisoners. I don't know.
Or
Okay.
like, I don't know, ask where these bodies were coming from because the doctors claimed that they had no idea that these students were stealing the bodies.
Oh
No
shit.
idea.
Oh shit. And that could be possible. There used to be places you could black market buy back in the 1700s, I heard, but I've only heard that in a European context. So I would imagine in America it's
Yeah.
like, where do we get bodies? How do we advance science?
How do we get easy, ready-made, fresh bodies?
Yeah. It's wild thinking about
They're stealing.
a period of time that New York had where it's like dead bodies aren't in abundance. Because like the
Yeah.
current state of New York, it's like I'm sure they're not hurting for dead bodies that are donated
No.
to science. You know what I mean? Like donated, just clean donated
Yeah.
to science. Like it's in their will. Nah, I want my body to go to science. They have
Mhm.
a large per capita kind of anti-theist, atheistic kind of population, and
Yeah.
a lot of metropolitan cats will donate that shit, cremate that shit, don't take up space with it.
Launch it in a cannon. I don't
Yeah.
care.
Well, thank you for telling me about that. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna end our morning news hour. I'm gonna
Sounds good.
bouncing out. I'm looking into some retro games. I've got a bunch of. I'm looking for.
Ooh.
I'm trying to get a nice collection of retro games going on to maybe play on stream. So that's
Sonic
what
the
I want.
Hedgehog.
See, I know my son would be a big fan of that. I got probably some Sonic and some Mario coming up. Boy, do I suck at Sonic. I suck at all retro games.
I
didn't-
suck at all games,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm
but I
pretty-
love
pretty
to
bad.
play them.
Oh yeah. See, there's something that I feel like I'm a fucking beast at, but there's some stuff it's like I'm not good. Like if I go back in time too far, I'm like, man, I tried to play Gundam Battle Assault 2 for the PlayStation
Oh, no.
1 on stream the other night, and I grew up with that game. I love that game.
Yeah.
Love that game a lot. It's
Yeah.
it's Street Fighter, but it's Gundams and it's great. And
Yeah, that was a great game.
yeah, and boy did I suck.
What was that one game that I used to play? It had like motorcycles, but there were rats on the motorcycles. I don't remember.
Oh, rats on it?
That
Is
was
that
a
what you said?
long time ago.
Oh yeah. There's a biker mice from
What a year
Mars. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that was it. Didn't they have a
Hmm.
game? I know it was a show.
Yeah, I think they had a little game at some point or something.
Yeah,
Or
something or other.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Arianthe. Thank you,
Yeah, you're
anybody
welcome.
tuning in, and you guys have a good morning and afternoon. I'll see you guys around the corner.
Oh.
Goodbye.